So a couple weeks ago, Shams put up this tweet about NBA tanking, and it's been on my mind that whole 3 weeks. Like I can't even lie to you. I've been thinking about it the whole time, and I really want to talk about it. What's up, guys? Welcome back to FTG Sports. It's Dylan, and today I want to talk about the concept and kind of this problem the NBA has with tanking. Now, like I said, Shams put up this tweet right here, basically talking about the ideas that the NBA had. Multiple sources had this, and it basically said that multiple ideas were proposed as brainstorming measure to combat tanking. The NBA does have a disparity in top to bottom teams. Don't get me wrong, and some of these bottom teams are trying to lose. They are completely correct in that assumption. But these ideas they had are so bad. I was trying to come up with another thing to say that would be funny. I can't. It's just terrible. I think they're god awful. I'm gonna lay them all out, kind of give you a rundown of what the NBA has done about tanking since then, and I kind of want to look at the last 5 lotteries to kind of argue against what the hell they're talking about. The first thing they propose is limiting pick protections to either top 4 or 14 and higher, which would eliminate the problematic mid-lottery protections. Okay, so the way I read that is like top 4 through 14, you can't do like a top 8 protected, is what I'm assuming. Why? They're no longer allowing a team to draft in the top 4 2 years in a row. You know how many teams wouldn't exist? Okay. And locking lottery positions after March 1st. All of these sound terrible. All of these sound awful. Because what if teams go on winning streaks at the end of the season? And I don't understand. So because you were bad before March 1st, everything that happens after that doesn't matter for the lottery. That is peculiar, to say the least. I don't like it, because there's going to be teams that have a chance to get a lottery pick and go far in the playoffs if they make it through the play-in. If that's how you're going to do it, locking at the first, you can't unlock it then. But okay, let's take it back. The NBA last changed its lottery in 2019, actually, giving the 3 worst teams in the regular season the same odds at 14% to land the number 1 and around a 52.5% chance of landing in the top 4. Cool. And traditionally, yes, that has done some things for tanking, and that has done some things in general. Pistons fans, we'll talk about you later. But seeing tanking as a problem, I think the worst instance of it, I'm a Knicks fan. Do you guys remember in 2013 when the Mavs were in the contention for play-in and they sat Kyrie and Luka back-to-back games? Yes, Luka played 12 minutes if you want to be that guy. But they sat them the last 2 games so that they can not make the playoffs and get Derek Lively. And the Knicks didn't get their protected pick. So, and they got fined hefty for that. I think they got fined like $750,000. Yeah, tanking is a problem. There are teams that aren't trying to win, but I don't think these rule changes, these 3 changes that they've talked about, are the right idea. We'll go into the first one right here. The limiting pick protection for mid-lottery, I guess, I don't know how that would be good or bad. I mean, trade value changes, and it'd be interesting to see how trades go after that, because I feel like you would have to still honor it until they are done. So that's going to be phased out in a couple years. But for the trades that are happening now, it's very interesting because a lot of these big trades have protections like that. So these teams don't have situations where, I don't know, maybe the Thunder would have some of the best odds at the first pick. Clippers, please win basketball games. I'm begging you. LA Clippers, please win basketball games, please. And then the next rule, no longer being top 4 2 years in a row is maddening. It's crazy to make this rule because there's really only 2 reasons, in my opinion, why teams like the Hornets, Jazz, and other teams of this nature, you know who you are stuck in these situations in the first place. One, they can't get free agents because they're a small market team and they're not doing good. You can't get people to come want to play for you if your team isn't good and you don't have good players. I feel like that's pretty simple. Secondly, you're not allowing teams who have the 1 through 3 picks already. So I took the time to look at the last 5 lotteries, and we're going to go through them one by one. I'll put them on the screen as I talk about them. I've crunched the numbers. I looked at Basketball Reference. You're going to see right here the 2020 NBA lottery and the players picked by their teams along with their odds. And as you can see here, the Timberwolves got Anthony Edwards with the 3rd odds. 2nd odds was James Wiseman with the Warriors. And LaMelo Ball did go to the Hornets after they jumped up from the 8th spot. The Hawks did drop out of the top 5. And in 2021, kind of a similar story, only one team dropping out, with it being the Thunder. This is where the Pistons won the lottery and took home Cade Cunningham, with Jalen Green going to the Rockets, where the 1 and 2 actually got the 1 and 2 pick. This is the last time that's happened in the last couple of years. That is the last time 2 teams with 14% odds have had the number 1 and 2 pick. And right here, we're going to show you the 2022 draft. That was the Paolo Banchero year, where the Magic did have the 2nd odds and won the lottery, with the Thunder getting Chet Holmgren with the 2nd odds. Now, one thing I'd like to say is this Thunder team did a really good job of building without needing top 5 picks. I know it's crazy because they're going to have a bunch of them coming up through trades, but the Thunder were built amazingly. If you want to see a video on that, I have one right here. You can press this little button. And as you can also see with this 2022 draft is the Rockets get Jabari Smith after having the 1st odds. The 1st odds hasn't had a top 3 pick since this draft. And yes, the ever so beloved 2023 draft class, where Victor Wembanyama goes to the San Antonio Spurs, who jumped from the 3rd odds, and basically every team in this top 5 jumped one, except the Pistons fell to 5 for a 2nd year in a row now. This draft had other big hitters other than Wemby. You had Scoot, you had the Thompson twins, you had Bilal Coulibaly and Scoot Henderson, with Brandon Miller sprinkled in there, you know. And then the Atlanta Hawks did the unthinkable in what could be considered the worst draft class to have in a very long time, where there wasn't a clear number 1, and you're in between Wemby and the 2025 draft of Cooper Flag. It was an unfortunate year to jump from the 10th odds to 1, but they did get Zachary Rissasse, with the Wizards having the 2nd odds, keeping their pick, getting Alex Sarr. Reed Shepherd, Stephon Castle also go in this draft. The Hornets and Blazers did drop out of the top 5 here, which is one of those things where if the Hornets, having such good odds, actually get the 1, 2, or 3 here, you can add Reed Shepherd or Alex Sarr. This draft class overall wasn't great, but I did notice the Spurs get another top 4 pick. And when you look at the 2025 draft, it's a lot of the same. The Spurs jump from the 8th to the 2nd odds. So either this draft or last draft, with the rule that they want to instate, you couldn't add Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper or Wembanyama and Castle. You would have to skip Castle in the middle of that. And this is where you'll also see the Mavs jumped from the 11th pick to the 1 after trading Luka Doncic to the Lakers. Everyone believes this is one of the most rigged picks. I don't know if I say so myself. It is a lottery system, but the Wizards and Pelicans did drop out of the top 5. The 1st odds dropped to 5 again. The Hornets dropped to 4, dropping 2 drafts in a row, and the Sixers jumped from 5. So 3 premier franchises in what could be said to be one of the better draft classes we've had in the last couple years, top to bottom. Only the big teams make it up. And looking at these 5 lotteries, that is one of the big things that stands out. There's a couple things I'll go through. First of all, Pistons fans, again, I'm so sorry. The NBA did not like you when you guys weren't good with the lottery system. I don't know what else to say. And second of all, the team who loses the most never wins the lottery. The 1st odds has not won the lottery since they made this change. In the last 3 lotteries alone, the highest odds team has dropped to the 5. And in the last 2, teams with a 4% or less chance have gotten the number 1 pick. So I don't see a need to punish these bad teams anymore. It makes no sense to keep punishing teams when you're already punishing them with the new lottery system. This new 14% for everybody, and it got bigger for the bottom, has been really bad for the top 3 teams. They haven't gotten to get the Cooper Flags, the Dylan Harpers, the Paolo Bancheros, the Zachary Richas. Oh, man. Looking at the last couple drafts alone, like I said with the Spurs, the Rockets wouldn't have gotten to have Jabari Smith and Amen Thompson. And if you go back a couple of drafts, if they do it on traded picks too, which is why I think they're doing it overall, because the Thunder have a lot of picks, so they don't want them to keep getting top 4 picks. The Celtics wouldn't have happened with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They wouldn't have been allowed to do that. So 3 of your biggest teams in the NBA right now wouldn't have been allowed to have happened. 3 top teams would not exist with the rules that they want to implement. Punishing these teams for losing even further than you already have, it makes it impossible for these teams to become good NBA teams. It almost feels like the NBA doesn't want them to be good. It's almost like they don't want the Hornets, the Jazz, the Wizards. Hell, they got lucky with the Pistons to be good teams. They don't like the small market. At the end of the day, the draft lottery is a really weird thing. It feels a little shady, and the NBA seems to want to keep using it as an excuse to push small market teams further down the ladder and further away from contention, and to do whatever they want with the league for these markets that they know will make money. But I want to know what you think. And if you made it this far in the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I got more NBA content right here. You can click my little face. I also have a new show with my 2 friends, Matt and Devin, called Triple Covers, that you can catch on this channel as well. Thank you so much. And in the comments, let me know what spot in the draft you think your team's going to get. P.S. You'll probably get higher up if it's a premier team. Thank you.